Alright guys, welcome back to our next homework assignment. It's going to be on solving simple equations, and it's going to go on page 10 in your notes. Okay, so without further ado, let's do this. Okay, a big part of algebra, like we've talked about before, is saying, okay, we know that something exists, and it's usually a number. We know some sort of number exists, but we don't know what that number is. Okay, but we do know that if we do some certain things to it, we get a different number. Okay, for example, if I have a number x, and I don't know what that number is, okay, but then I know that if I add 3 to it, then I get the number 5, okay, we can figure out what that x is. Okay, those of you who are sitting there, you're probably thinking, yeah, this is really easy. X plus 3 is 5. That means that that x has to be a 2. Okay, well, you're right, because 2 plus 3 equals 5, so x must be 2. Okay, this next one, is just as simple. A minus 4 equals 7. A has to be 11 because 11 is the only number where 11 minus 4 will give you 7. Okay, this one we've already picked up on. That means that we're multiplying. Okay, 4 times some number that we don't know, cubed, gives us 12, which means the only number that would fit here would be a 3, because the only time that we can get 12 by multiplying something by 4 is with a 3. Okay, all three of these equations here are called one-step equations, because to solve them you only have to do one step. Okay, now the ones down here are a little bit different. They are called two-step equations because it takes 2 steps to solve them. Okay, as you can see, the reason that they take 2 steps to solve them is because 2 things are happening. In this, here's our x. Okay, the first thing that's happening to it is this 4 is being multiplied. So whatever our x is, we're going to do times 4, and then we're going to do minus 2. On this one, whatever our number is, we're going to divide by 3, and then we are going to add 7. This one, we're going to multiply by 2 and add 10. Okay, we're going to go through how to solve these simple equations. Okay, first thing that we're going to do is we're going to cover up the variable and cross the border. Okay, basically, I want you to imagine that this equal sign is like a giant border. Okay, this right here is Canada. This right here is the USA. Okay, they want to go to the USA because the USA is better, but we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, what we are going to do first, though, like I said, is cover up the variable. Okay, cover it up. So just for this, I'm just going to kind of do that so that you guys see that it's covered up. Okay, now to solve this, okay, when I say cross the border, what I mean is take whatever's left. So I covered up the x. This guy right here is left, right? So I am going to pick him up and move him over here. Now the trick is that when you cross, you change the sign. So it's a minus over here. That means I'm going to change it to a plus over here. Okay, now we go down here. It says if you cross the border, combine like terms. So when we look at this, we know that we can combine those. We've talked about that already, and we know that 18 plus 2 equals 20. So then when I look back at my variable, I have 4x equals 20. Okay, we are not done though, because as you can see, that x, not alone. Okay, we still have to figure out what that is. So we'll go to the next slide. Okay, what we do here, now we've got 4x equals 20. Okay, we got that from the last part. We have to do the connected number. Okay, sometimes, not sometimes, but we call this the coefficient, okay, and in this case the coefficient is 4. So we have to undo the connected number, undo the coefficient, by doing the opposite operation. So we look here, okay, this x is being multiplied. This x is being multiplied. Well, what's the opposite of multiplication? Anybody? Anybody? That's right. The opposite is division. So I'm going to divide this by 4. Okay, but you have to do both sides. Okay? Equations are kind of like little children or little brothers or sisters. Okay, if you get something, if your parents give you something, then your kid or brother or sister is going to start whining, I want it too, I want it too. And they won't stop yelling until you do the same thing to them to shut them up. Okay, well, 4 divided by 4, that's a 1. So it's like saying we have 1x. And that equals 20 divided by 4, that's a 5. So now we have 1x equals 5, which, guess what? That's our answer. Okay? We can even go back, and if you don't believe me, you can rewind the video really quick. But if we go back to our old equation and it says 4x minus 2 equals 18, well, we have the 4. We know that our x that we just figured out is the number 5. Okay, and then we can say minus 2 equals 18. Well, 4 times 5 is 20. Minus 2 equals 18. 20 times 2, or excuse me, 20 minus 2 is 18, which equals 18. That checks out. So then this x, okay, is the number 5. All right. Okay, this is an important thing. Okay, this notice right here. Okay, all steps in math, they're like chore lists. Okay, if you get home and your mom says, "Oh, before you can go out and have fun with your friends," okay, or before you can go on to play your Xbox, you have to clean the dishes, you have to take out the trash, and you have to clean your room. Okay, so you clean the dishes, you go to take out the trash, and there's no trash to be found. Are you going to go find trash to like clean up? No, you're going to be like, sweet, it's already done, and you're going to skip it. Okay? If one step has already been done, or that step is not there in the problem, you don't have to do it. You can skip it. And we'll see that in these next couple examples. Okay? Here's some practice. I'm probably only going to do 2 of these, but here we go. Let's take a look. Okay, this first problem right here. Okay, you can see that there's only one step here. There's nothing to cross over. There's nothing to cross the border with, so you skip the cross the border with step. Okay? But let's look at this guy right here. Okay? The first thing we do is cover up the variable. You can use your thumb. I have to use this because you can't see my thumb. Okay, but I cover up the variable. Okay, this is guy's hanging out, so I'm going to cross him over. He's a negative, so he becomes a plus 8. Okay, now I'm going to write it to the side. Usually you should write it under here, but I'm going to write it to the side because I don't have room. So now 4 plus 8, that equals 12. Okay, and then right here I have a negative 3x. Now, what's being done to my x? Here's my x. What's happening? Well, again, this coefficient, negative 3, is being multiplied. So to undo multiplication, to get rid of the multiplication, I have to do the opposite. The opposite of multiplication is division. Do divided by 3 on both sides, I get x equals negative 4. Easy enough. Okay, the next one is this guy right here, number 4. I'm going to cover this up, and I see that I have, I see that I have a plus 7. I'm going to cross that over. It's going to be a minus 7. 16 minus 7 is 9. Okay, and I have now x over 3 equals 9. Now, Some of you might be saying, this is a fraction, this is a fraction. Well, fractions, okay, are just division. And for those of you who remember the opposite of division, okay, the opposite of division is multiplication. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say times 3 times 3. Those cancel out, so I have an x equals 27. Okay, this last one I'm not going to do for you, but I'm just going to kind of go through the first step. Okay, on this one, number 5, the variable's on the other side. It doesn't change how we do it. We still cover it up, and then we still move from there. Okay, see you in class, and hope you have this done.